So when I was growing up, I used to believe I guess like the mainstream narrative, I guess, around red meat and cholesterol and saturated fat and that sort of thing. I remember I was kind of like indoctrinated into that way of thinking to where whenever I'd see some like greasy burger or whatever, or just some like meaty thing, I would always think like, oh, let's clog up your arteries, haha. But that was always just kind of looking through the lens of what other people would say, not through my own experience of life. And as I got older and a little bit wiser, I'm not super wise, I'm only 17, but throughout my life, I experimented through with my diet because I've ran into certain problems here or there whenever it comes to carbs or plants and a lot of different things that I struggled with: junk food, overeating, not feeling so good, brain fog, a lot of different things. Eventually, though, I've come across this diet where I basically only eat meat and eggs. And so I eat red meat just about every single day now. And so I'm going to tell you why. My name is Keegan, and if you don't know me, like I said, my name is Keegan, and I talk about diet and fitness and stuff, and yeah, that sort of thing. So if you want to support me, then definitely look into check out the links in the description and subscribe, that sort of thing. And yeah, but why I eat red meat every day is mostly because I went through this process of experimenting with my diet and seeing what worked for me. And what worked for me was eating more meat, more protein, more fat, and less carbohydrates, less plants, those sorts of things. And so nowadays, I eat eggs pretty much every day. I eat meat every single day. And I don't believe that old belief that I used to have of like, oh, it's going to clog your arteries. I actually think a fatty piece of meat is actually really good for you. And it's just kind of weird how, upon my own experimentation with my own life, how my beliefs have changed instead of just believing what everyone else used to say. But yeah, but what I've learned is what I'm going to share with you in this video. So the first thing that I learned about red meat and just meat in general is, one, it has a lot of protein. I mean, that's kind of obvious. People talk about, increasing your protein intake. Meat is probably the best way you can do that. I mean, like it literally is just it's protein and fat. And if you think about it, we humans, we are made of protein and fat. We are made of muscle and bone and connective tissue. So we should probably eat those things. Maybe not the bones, to be honest. But I think you get what we're made of meat. So we should probably just eat meat to support that and grow that, right? Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. And so there's something else that I've learned is that meat has a lot of nutrients in it, right? So specifically red meat, it has stuff. I'm going to try and name the specific nutrients. I'm not an expert at this, but I think it's like taurine, it has creatine. Um, I think that's all I remember, to be completely honest. But like taurine, creatine, carnitine. There we go. That's one. Carnitine. There's lots of like those kind of like special nutrients that people don't really talk about that is in red meat that are really good for you. And yeah, something else that I've learned though is that people sometimes don't make enough of those nutrients. So like carnitine, it's not a required nutrient basically because we can make some of it on our own. But something that I've learned is that some people don't make enough, and so they can have like a carnitine deficiency. And so if they're not eating red meat, they're not going to get as much as they need, and they're going to have the issues that follow with deficiency. And I think the carnitine problem was kind of like neurological developmental problems if you have a carnitine deficiency, from what I remember. But yeah, it's like there's just lots of nutrients in the eggs and the meat and those sorts of things that are good for you that you need to survive. And so that's why I eat it basically literally every day. is because it has the nutrients that I need to survive. It has protein. I'm into fitness and athletic and stuff, right? So I'm gonna have lots of protein, obviously, right? And the nutrients, I mean, you just kind of need lots of nutrients to survive. So why wouldn't you eat super nutrient dense stuff? The next thing is just like it tastes hella good. It just tastes good, you know. Like I don't really spice my food at all anymore. I just salt it sometimes to taste, but it still tastes really good. Like I could eat just steak for probably the rest of my life and be perfectly fine. And beyond like the taste thing, like some people will say, "Oh, but you need to live a little, have some of this." Like, I get there can be like fun food and stuff, but it's just not that appealing to me. It's like this, like steak, eggs, like brisket. Dude, brisket is some of the best thing, bro. I love a good brisket, dude. It's so good. But yeah, like I could eat brisket for the like just brisket for the rest of my life and never get sick of it. Essentially never get sick of it. And if I did get sick of it, I just wouldn't eat it for a couple of days and just get really hungry and then just understand like, oh, this tastes hella good. So yeah, it just tastes good, bro. And I think the reason why it tastes so good is because it's like this is nourishing your body. From my kind of bro science understanding, is like there's lots of nutrients in this stuff. Your body wants nutrients. So it's going to reward you in the terms of like how it tastes to eat that thing, right? And so yeah, like it tastes hella good. Oh, okay, I'll have that. But it also doesn't have like it has a limiting factor. It's like a negative feedback loop. Eventually, at a certain point, it just stops tasting good because you've had enough. That's the problem with like sugar and stuff. So don't use like, oh, it tastes good, so that must mean it's good for me as a metric for if you should eat it or not, in my opinion. Like your taste buds still can be hijacked by stuff like sugar and like processed, like the taste good, just taste hella good metric probably isn't a good thing because junk food also tastes hella good. So just be aware of that. It's like there's a reason why like in of itself, in its natural state, non-modified meat tastes good, right? Because if you think about fruit, yes, they taste good, but also are they really like ancestral fruit? Like how long have we had the modern banana for, right? That's just like just a candy bar basically with no seeds. Like if you look up ancient bananas, like they're way different than the ones we have now. So just keep that in mind for the if it tastes good. um and the next thing is like, yeah, the next reason why I eat red meat just about every single day is that it's honestly not that expensive. So I get like with things, get like things all the time get more expensive, like meat, eggs, all the time. More expensive, more expensive. Inflation, economy. Oh no, life is terrible. Like I get it. But honestly, it's not that expensive if you truly think about it. And there's a there's a couple reasons why it's not as expensive as you think. So the first thing is that if you compare it to the rest of the food in like the supermarket, the junk food, the vegetables, the fruit, everything else, it's about the same price as like like a good quality fruit or whatever. I was just walking through the supermarket today actually, and I saw like a medium-sized watermelon was like $5. Okay, and I bought some meat today that was less than $5 a pound. So 1 pound of meat compared to a watermelon that's probably like 2 pounds, right? How many, like, just think about calorie wise, like food energy wise, which is more worth it? The meat, because it was 80-20 ground beef, so there's lots of fat and protein in there, lots of energy that you can go on for a while, right? Very energy dense, and they're the same price, right? The watermelon's probably like 20 calories because it's just water and some sugar in it, right? That's it. But also think about the nutrients that you get in both. So in red meat, which is a super nutrient dense thing, you get a ton of these nutrients, these fat soluble vitamins. You get protein. What do you get from the watermelon? Water, maybe some vitamins in the fruit part. You get sugar, which honestly probably isn't that healthy for you. That's it. You get like three things, and then with the red meat, you get way more. At least that's the way I see it. And so I just find that red meat in of itself, even if it is, more expensive in general, it's more worth it because it's more nutrient dense. Also, like it's not that expensive, right? Like if especially if you go to like Costco or something, dude, Costco is a hack, bro. You can get a lot of beef for like under $5 a pound, which means that if you're like a relatively average sized person like I am, I eat anywhere from like 2 to 3 pounds of meat a day. So that puts you at around $10 to $15 a day, which honestly isn't that bad for, like healthy eating. And if you're a super active person, it's also still not that bad. Like I am. I eat a lot of food, but honestly, I don't think it's that expensive. And another thing that you have to consider is what is your health worth, right? Like people will say, "Oh, but it's too expensive. It's too much of this, too much of that." And then they'll say, "Oh, I value my health." Do you? Because what really determines what your values are is what you spend your time on and what you spend your money on. That's what I learned from this rich guy, Alex Ramosi, and he was talking in terms of, how you get like more rich, right? So it's like if you spend your time, like playing video games instead of working on a business, you're probably not going to be rich, even if you say your priority is business. It's what you spend your time on and your money. Like if you spend money on video games instead of like mentors and business stuff, then like that's what you're optimizing for is the video game stuff, not business. But if you move that over to kind of a health area, if you're not spending more money on health, then health probably isn't your priority. And I get it, it can be expensive, right? But you also just got to consider what else are you spending your money on? If you're spending money on like alcohol, on junk food, on just other useless things, like those things stack up over time and you could spend that money in a better place to where you're actually achieving like health benefits from it. So just think about that whenever you're going through this, like, oh no, but red meat's so expensive. I'm not saying that you need to buy like the ribeye steaks every single time. You don't need to, like, just buy ground beef. That's honestly the most economical way that you can go about it. Just buy ground beef and make burgers. It's not that hard. Or, if you go to like Costco or something that you can buy stuff in bulk, it's even better to where for me, I think per pound of brisket is like 4.29 a pound. That's really good, right? And you get a ton of fat that you can cook other stuff in. And me and my dad, we really so I'll trim off the brisket a little bit, and then I'll render down the fat trimmings, and I'll get some tallow out of it, and I'll also get these like crisps. We were talking about it the other day while we were on the way to the gym, but I make these like they're like crisps of fat. This is a complete side point, by the way, but I'll come back to it. But yeah, it's like if you trim off the fat, and render it down, make it really crispy, and then you add a little bit of salt to it, dude. It is so good. It is like it's the best like snack meal thing ever. It's just like these little like it's like pork rinds, but not cooked in seed oils, and they're just so good. They're like crack, dude. They're so good. Um, anyways, just and even better than that, you can also kind of going back to the original discussion, going back to the in bulk thing, you can also maybe try and talk to a farmer and buy a cow in bulk, right? And yes, it is like a big like down payment or whatever, but then you have meat for like the entire year and you're good. And it's honestly, whenever you buy it in bulk, it's generally less expensive. So yeah, like I would overall just say the whole oh it's too expensive thing is just cope, and it's just not trying hard enough in my opinion. Like if you truly value your health, it's not going to be too expensive, because think about this. What would you spend, like if you extrapolate this to the logical extreme, if your health is truly important to you, how much would you be willing to spend if so let's just say there was a cure for like this is going to the logical extreme, right? Imagine there was a cure for cancer, and you had this like terminal cancer. You had like a day left to live, but you heard about this cure for cancer. How much would you pay for it? And let's just say you had like $1,000 left, and it cost exactly $1,000, and you had no other money left. What would you spend on it to save your life, to save your health, right? And this can't, like, it would cure everything, make you all better. What would you spend on it? You'd spend all of your money, or you're just dumb. I if you truly value your health, you will spend what it takes to fix your health, right? Like you're and the other way that you can also see it is you either spend the money now through the form of, a little bit higher quality food, or through, like supplements or whatever, or just a gym membership, right? You spend the money now on that, or you spend the money on, like a funeral for yourself or something, or you spend the money on healthcare expenses, like some weird drug that a doctor um, prescribes you because you're sick now, because you haven't been taking care of yourself. It's gonna be spent anyways, and oftentimes you're gonna feel worse later on if you don't take care of your health. And yeah, that's that's just kind of my rant on it. It's like it's too expensive thing just really pisses me off, because I'm making it work somewhat as a 17-year-old, and so I think you can make it work regardless of who you are. You can probably make it work. Anyways, that's enough of the rants. And also, like, if you can't afford a ton of red meat, just buy like chicken, buy pork. It's not as expensive, and it's still good. It's still better than eating some weird junk food. Just saying. Anyways, moving on. Moving on now. It's gotta get past that rant, bro. I'm like steamy, angry. Overall, though, life, I would say, is just better whenever I am eating nutrient dense foods and nothing else. It's just simple as that. The reason why I eat red meat or eggs or just meat every day is because my life is better with it. And I wouldn't have made this video if it wasn't. If, my arteries, if I had like a heart attack or something and I was like dying, or like it was something ridiculous that I saw. Like some dude was like, it was some whack story. Like some dude was like oozing cholesterol. That's so funny, bro. If I was like oozing cholesterol, I would tell you. If this sucked, I would tell you. But there's a reason why I've done it every single day for a while now, almost a year of eating meat every single day. And I've probably been eating meat every day for a while before that too. So there's a reason why I've been doing it every single day. And that's why I'm sharing this video with you today. And that's why I would encourage you to, if you're not already, try it out. Try eating meat every day. If you're not, I think it'll work. I think it'll be good for you. If you don't want to eat a ton, like, okay, fine. Like, I get it. But yeah, just try it out. Experiment with your diet. Maybe remove other whack stuff from your diet. That might be good. Yeah. If you like what I'm saying, then you should go subscribe. Maybe check out the links in the description, and see you in the next one. Thank you.